Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call to order the Monday, April 22nd Special Finance Committee meeting. Clerk, if you could, please take a roll.
Councilman Donegan,
Present.
Council Vice President Vargas, Councilman Ferry,
Present.
Council President Marino,
Present.
Councilman Campopiano,
Present.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Present.
Councilman Wall.
Here.
This is a special meeting to discuss three items in the proposed budget dealing with municipal indebtedness, long-term obligations, and to go back over any questions related to revenues within the proposal. Before we get there, at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for any public comment to any docketed matters on the Special Finance Committee meeting. This would be municipal indebtedness, long-term obligations, or revenue. Is there any members of the public that wish to speak on that item? Seeing none in person. Tom, is there anyone online?
There is no public comment.
Thank you. At this time, we'll close public comment. If there are any questions from members of the committee on municipal indebtedness, long-term obligations, or revenues, certainly welcome the opportunity for any questions. Director Zadelis, is there anything you'd like to add? I guess I'll ask the question. What is the health of the city's long-term debt moving forward?
Mr. Chairman, generally, I will say that these long-term health good. One thing that we just were notified in the last 2 weeks is one of our ratings, Standard & Poor's have changed their rating criteria. It's commonplace for rating agencies to do, such a thing. So right now we're doing a deep dive in terms of the city's bond rating. I don't want to say, any cautionary tales, but until we get through the entire criteria, I'm going to just reserve, where we are, but FY23 getting back over the self-imposed fund balance, rainy day fund is a good sign. But as we were saying when the auditors were here, 5% for a AA community in terms of fund balance is, I think, below the threshold. So until we get through our own internal analysis, things look well, sir.
Can I just, the rating change, was it?
Their criteria changed. So they'll say, your fund balance, what type of permits you have, the health of the city is dictated by certain criteria. So they've changed their thresholds. Matter of fact, we can send that out to you if you'd like.
Thank you. And the last question, I know on the revenue side, I think it's the 1% restaurant meals and beverage tax. There was an increase from what the governor's budget proposal was, and I believe you had previously stated that was to account for Topgolf, correct?
There were two things, and I was trying to get my work papers. There were two components in that. If you look at the analytics that credit card companies use, although it's not specific to Rhode Island, they're seeing an uptick in terms of people using credit cards going to restaurants. So that's one part of it. The second part is, as I stated before, Topgolf. Now, one of the things I learned with sports entertainment in the council auditor can probably speak to this, but my experience is limited to my former life. The amount of revenue from sports entertainment, you would think it's from tickets or, renting a bucket of balls. They are heavily reliant, I shouldn't say reliant. They look for meals and beverage. It's one of their major revenue streams supporting their operation. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what Top Golf is coming in for revenues in the food and beverage. And although I have not personally been there, I have a son who's been there 2 times. And he told me how much he dropped in that one session. And I feel pretty comfortable with my projection on what Top Golf will bring in.
Thank you. Any other members have a question? Director, sorry, because we're here. On the back end, in terms of like, is there data that's available to kind of like create maybe through GIS, like a heat map of where the economic activity is that we receive that revenue? And the only reason I ask the question is not to single out specific restaurants and businesses, but just to look at if we know certain areas are
Yes.
hot for business, ways that we can invest in, public infrastructure, just to kind of think of ways we can leverage that data to inform policy decisions moving forward.
Okay, we can give you a map with where the revenue is, where the restaurants are. The one issue is, and I'm assuming Rhode Island is the same as Massachusetts. The state of Massachusetts would not provide us with specifics on the revenues for any one establishment. And so I don't think Rhode Island will, but we can give you a map plotting out the restaurants.
That would be great. Thank you. Thank you, Director. Does any other members of the committee or council have any questions? Okay, seeing no further business before us, at this time we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned. The regularly scheduled city council meeting will begin in 15 minutes at 7 p.m. as scheduled.
Today is Monday, April 22nd. Please welcome yourselves to the Cranston City Council regularly scheduled monthly meeting. Today is Monday, April 22nd. At this time, we'll ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Present.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Present.
Councilman Donegan.
Present.
Councilman Campopiano.
Present.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Present.
Councilman Wall.
Here.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Present.
Council President Marino.
Present. At this time, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Next, we have the approval of minutes. I'd look for a motion to take the approval of the minutes as a block for the 4 different dates.
Motion to take as a block. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Now entertain a motion to approve the minutes as a block.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas. Wow.
Okay, yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. While there are no public acknowledgements and commendations, before I move on to public hearings on public comment on docketed matters, I'm going to ask for a motion to take the agenda out of order, but we will be taking public comment next.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
No.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
No.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-2.
Next, we have public comment. If there is anyone in chambers or on Zoom who wishes to be heard on any docketed matters this evening, please state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments limited to 4 minutes. First, we will start with in chambers. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on any docketed matters this evening?
Thank you, Councilman Ferry and the rest of the city council for taking up and voting on this resolution tonight for limb loss awareness and limb difference month for the month of April. I try and be a voice for those that aren't as fortunate as I am. It's awareness like this that gets the message out, not to forget about the 5.6 million Americans living with limb loss and limb difference. Once again, I want to thank the city council for squeezing this on their busy calendar tonight.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, Mr. Zanni, not everyone knows your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Sorry, Robert Zanni, 19 Blossom Drive, Cranston.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Madam President, members of the council, Mr. Moretti. A few nights ago, Chrissy Annoying called me on my phone, and she informed me that there's a strong possibility that she will be appointed as the Ward 2 council person this evening. And she said that it would be an honor if I would speak on her behalf in support of the nomination. And I told her right out that the honor is mine. I've been an elected official in this city for almost 40 years. And during that period of time, I've been so fortunate to have worked with and worked alongside so many talented, respectful, dedicated, remarkable, and professional individuals, and caring individuals, and ethical individuals. And I can say without reservation that Chrissy Annoying is certainly one of those individuals. There's little doubt in my mind that she will be dearly missed on the Cranston City Committee. Cranston School Committee. However, it will be the council's gain, the city's gain, to have her represent the taxpayers and the constituents of Ward 2. Someone once wrote that service is the dues one must pay for occupying space here on earth. Chris Inouye has paid her dues on the Cranston School Committee many times in terms of her service to the constituents and the children of Ward 2. And she will continue to pay her dues as a caring, as a concerned, and certainly a very capable and ethical Ward 2 council person. We on the school committee certainly wish her well, and we encourage the council to support her nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Trafficante.
Good evening, Madam Council President, Madam Council Vice President, and esteemed members of the Cranston City Council. My name is Raymond Coya from 4 Franconia Drive, and I'm here in my capacity as Chairman of the Cranston Juvenile Hearing Board. I rise to address you in support of the proposal to seat Kristen Heroin to fill the unexpired term of former Ward 2 Councilwoman Anise Germain. I've had the privilege of knowing Chrissy in both professional and personal settings for many years. Chrissy has served as a member of the Juvenile Hearing Board for over a 12-year period. During that time, she has exhibited care, concern, and commitment to her role as a member of our board. When juveniles appear before our board, it is the first involvement that they have with the Cranston Police. And while our primary role is to address the offense for which they are charged and administer proper sanctions, our review does not stop there. More often than not, discussions are held with the juvenile as to schoolwork, extracurricular activities, and career ambitions. During these discussions, Chrissy has always shown a true interest and concern for the youth that appear. Her knowledge of the city's educational offerings always proved to be a valuable asset to both the board and the student. Her questions and inquiries exhibit a caring approach to the matters before us. Chrissy is one who will offer personal follow-up to the offender and their family. During her tenure on the Juvenile Hearing Board, Chrissy has exhibited a stern commitment to her responsibilities of attendance at meetings and staying abreast of the programs we have in place as part of our sanctioning process. Knowing Chrissy as I do, I am wholly confident that she will transfer all of these attributes over to her role as councilwoman for Ward 2 if selected. Thank you for allowing me to share these words as chairman of the Juvenile Hearing Board.
Good evening, Council President, members of the council, Nick Lima, Registrar, Director for Elections. In committee, I had the chance to take a bite out of the apple on the Fiskville resolution. I ate the whole apple, so I'll be very brief. The residents of Fiskville and Cranston and Situate have not received regular mail delivery for decades. So the Postal Service has been completely non-responsive to our repeated requests to improve their quality of life and to improve our elections administration and undeliverable mail. The action on the docket tonight for the council to urge the Postal Service to establish regular mail delivery is a step. It's an important step, and is the first of what will be many steps in working with our congressional delegation and hopefully with the Postal Service to right this decades-old wrong. And I just want to take a moment to thank the council for all co-sponsoring this resolution and supporting it this evening. Thank you.
There you go. That work? Good evening. My name is Dr. Kathleen Torregrosa, and I live at 1331 Hope Road in Cranston, which is Ward 6. I work for the Cranston Public Schools as the coordinator of professional support services for teachers, and I'm also the secretary for the Cranston Teachers Alliance. I rise to support the appointment of Christine Heroyan to Ward 2 City Council chair seat, City Council seat. Ms. Haroyan has been an active member of the Cranston School Committee for 5 years. She serves on the Wellness Subcommittee and also serves on the Cranston Juvenile Hearing Board. I attend most school committee meetings, and I have witnessed her passionate dedication to the school department, our families, our teachers, and most importantly, to our students. Ms. Haroyan has demonstrated that she works well with all members of the bipartisan school committee. She is open-minded, asks questions to verify information, and solicits opinions from others. Ms. Haroyan reaches out to the CTA leadership when her constituents, or any city taxpayer for that matter, raises a concern. We always know where Chrissy stands on an issue because she does her homework, she asks questions, she discusses, and then voices her opinion. All admirable traits for a city council person. I fully endorse her appointment to the city council as she will be an asset to this chamber. I know the knowledge that she brings to the city council is about the largest city department, the school department. This will be invaluable to the work that you do and the budgets as you address them. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Madam Council President, members of the City Council. For the record, Robert Murray, 21 Garden City Drive in Cranston. Just very briefly, I'm here to speak in support of ordinances 02-2402 and 02-2403. The Ordinance Committee was nice enough to give us an extensive hearing 11 days ago. I won't repeat anything. This is the property related to the medium security prison out at Howard. It's a change of zone and an amendment to the comp plan to allow the reuse of that property. I'm here to answer any questions, but the ordinance did pass unanimously out of committee, and I hope that it will have the support of the council tonight. And like I said, I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Last call for in chambers. Does anyone else wish to be heard on any docketed matters this evening? Okay. There being no one on Zoom, Tom, is there anyone that wishes to be heard?
There is no public comment.
At this time, public comment on docketed matters is now closed. We will now move to resolutions. First up this evening, we have the resolution in support of Governor McKee's Litter-Free Rhode Island campaign, sponsored by myself and Council President Vargas. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? I will start off and just say that this is a timely effort and campaign by the governor and Mrs. McKee, the First Lady of the state, relative to helping to have responsible litter-free Rhode Island, and we all share in that role. We are happy to participate and pass this resolution, hopefully this evening, to show our dedication to this responsible cause. Is there any discussion from any other council members? Councilman Campopiano?
Can I be added as a co-sponsor?
Sure.
Thank you.
Councilman Ferry?
Thank you for bringing this forward. May I be added as a co-sponsor?
Yes. Councilman Paplaskas?
Like to be added as a co-sponsor?
Councilman Wall, Councilman
I like
Donegan,
it.
all right, everybody's on board, okay. Yeah, well, everyone except one. So did you want to as well? Okay. Then we are all added as sponsors, all right? At this time, no further discussion. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Okay. Next up, we have a resolution supporting limb loss and limb difference awareness month, sponsored by Councilman Ferry. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
And Councilman Ferry, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as my friend Rob Zanni said, we're doing this just to increase awareness of the many people that do have limb loss. And I do this for my friend because I actually knew him for 2 months and did not even know that he had limb loss. because he is so mobile that he's a hero to me. And I just wanted to do this for him and all the people that have limb loss or limb indifference in Rhode Island and throughout the United States.
Thank you, Councilman Ferry. If I may be added as a co-sponsor?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Others, show of hands? Okay, unanimous, we have it. All right, any other discussion from council members? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. And last but not least of the resolutions, we have a resolution recognizing May 5 through the 11th as the 55th Annual Municipal Clerks Week. This is sponsored by myself and Council Vice President Vargas. Before I entertain discussion, I'd just like to thank our city clerks, the entire department, and especially Tracy Nelson and Rosalba, the assistant clerk. Every day they face the public, they face issues, unexpected and expected, and they work long hours, and we really appreciate their dedication to the public and to the service of the city. Is there any further discussion? Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I'd like to request to be added as a co-sponsor, if that's okay.
I think there was a
And,
motion.
oh.
We had a
No.
motion.
No, we don't.
Motion to approve. Second.
I'm sorry, Councilman Paplaskas?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to request to be added as a co-sponsor, and then just say that we are extremely lucky to have the clerks that we do have. Tracy and Rosalba are both rock stars, and I see former Council Vice President Santa Maria standing in the back, who's got another 10 years dealing with the clerks in this room, and we appreciate them also. Thank you.
Councilman Donegan.
Thank you, Council President. One, I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor. And I want to thank our clerk, Tracy Nelson, for all the work she does. I'm not sure how much the public recognizes how significant a role the clerks play in allowing us and helping and aiding us in doing our job, and in addition to everything else they do facing the public every day. So I just want to say thank you, Tracy, for making our job a little bit easier, for being so good at what you do. Thank you.
Councilman Wall.
I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor and echo my colleagues' comments. Thank you for all you do. Ms. Nelson.
Councilman Campopiano.
Through the chair, I also like, as co-sponsor, I want to personally thank Tracy and Rosalba for their hard work. They're always there for us. Thank you.
Councilman Ferry, did you have your hand up?
Thank you for bringing this forward, and I agree with my colleagues, and I would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you. I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor, and I'd like to thank Tracy and Rosalba. They're always available to answer questions, and they're very responsive. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. All right, at this time, no further discussion. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next, we have reports of committees. First up, we have a Chair of Claims Committee, Councilman Wall.
Okay, hopefully I'll do this correctly my first time. On April 1st, the Claims Committee did meet, April 1st, 2024, and they reviewed certain cases and no votes were taken. Report over.
Thank you, Councilman Wall. Next, we have Councilman Ferry reporting out of Safety Services and Licensing.
Thank you, Council President. We have one item on the agenda tonight from Safety Services, and that is a liquor license transfer from Class BVL to Class BV for the Lunchbox Cafe. This passed in committee. I urge passage tonight.
Do we have any motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next, we have reporting from Finance Chairman, Councilman Donegan.
Thank you, Council President. The first matter coming out of the Finance Committee, which met on April 1st, was a resolution allowing the city of Cranston to assume responsibility for the upkeep and safety of the United States Army donation of mid-19th century military cannons at the Governor Sprague Mansion. This was, if I'm counting correctly, unanimously co-sponsored by the City Council.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas. Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, we have a resolution authorizing real estate tax abatements as recommended by the tax assessor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, we have the consideration of tax interest waiver approvals for the month of March 2024 as recommended by the city treasurer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Lastly, there is the consideration of tax interest waiver denials for the month of March 2024 as recommended by the city treasurer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next up, we have Council Vice President Vargas as Chair of the Ordinance Committee.
Thank you, Council President. There is nothing to report. The Public Works Committee committee meeting was held on April 11th. I'll move on to the Ordinance Committee, if that's okay with you? Great, thank you. The Ordinance Committee meeting was held on April 11th. There were 3 ordinances that were passed and 1 resolution. The first one is 2-24-02. That is ordinance and amendment of the 2010 Comprehensive Plan for the City of Cranston, 2012, as amended, 20 Garter Drive, Assessors Plat 13, Lot 39, as requested by the owner applicant of 200 Garter LLC, approved by the Finance Committee on April 11th. I urge passage.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is 2-24-03, ordinance amendment of Chapter 17 of the Code of the City of Cranston, 2005, entitled Zoning, 20 Garden Drive, Assessors Plat 13, Lot 39, as requested by the owner and the applicant of 20 Garter LLC. This is approved by the Ordinance Committee as amended on April 11, 2024, and I urge passage.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
The third item is 3-24-01. This is ordinance in the amendment of Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 32 of the Code of the City of Cranston, 2005, entitled Stopping, Standing, and Parking on the Specific Streets. This is sponsored by Councilman Ferry, Council Vice President Vargas, Council President Marino. This was approved by the Ordinance Committee on April 11th, and I urge passage.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I don't think I can I make?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campopiano.
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Yes.
Councilman Wall.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Thank you. The last item under the Ordinance Committee is a resolution requesting the United States Postal Service establish normal residential mail delivery to the residents of Fiskville, Sponsored by Councilman Ferry, Councilman Campopiano, and Council President Marino. This is co-sponsored by Councilwoman Renzulli, Councilwoman Jermaine, Councilwoman Domingue, Donegan, Councilman Wall, Councilman Papalaskis, and Council Vice President Vargas. This is approved by the Ordinance Committee on April 11th, and I urge passage.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Thank you, Council Vice President Vargas. Next, I will move to on page 5, election appointment of city officials, appointment of Sarah Frew as first alternate to the Tax Assessment Board of Review for the unexpired term ending January 28, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next, we have the appointment of Elizabeth Del Padre to the Tax Assessment Board of Review, replacing a vacancy for the unexpired term ending January 5, 2026. This-
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? I'd just like to thank Ms. Del Padre for stepping up to serve on the Tax Assessment Board of Review. We welcome your service and your well-endowed experience and attributes to that board. At this time, clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next up, we have executive communications. We will go to also on page 5. We have the illegal expense analysis for the period of July 1, 2023 to April 16, 2024. Does anyone have any questions, discussion, or does the administration wish to be heard relative to that report? No? Okay, there being none. Moving to an update from Planning Director Pizzullo as a status report on the comprehensive plan. I don't see him in attendance this evening. Does the administration have anything to add relative to that either?
No, as we know, the Director Pizzula reports to the planning board, not the administration, so he has not conveyed any message to us, to the council.
All right, we thank you, Director Moretti. Report of city officers, we have nothing under that category. Then we can move on to Council President Communications. I'm seeking an update from the administration regarding the status of the city's participation in the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank's Community Septic System Loan Program. At the time of the posting of this agenda, the program was not up and running yet on the city's website. I understand post this being added to the agenda, that has since changed and it is now available to residents for applications. Is that correct? Okay, I want to thank you and the administration for finally coming through on this. It's been a long time in the making, since February of 2022 when I initiated it. And I know there's a lot of residents that are going to be very appreciative for this loan program with respect to their septic system replacement. Next up, we have council business matters carried over. Also on page 5, we have 1-24-01, ordinance and amendment of Title 10, Chapter 32 of the city code, entitled Stopping, Standing, and Parking on Specific Streets. This is dealing with an intersection stop sign at Plantation Drive, Elm Drive, and Magazine Street. This is sponsored by the mayor and Councilwoman Renzulli, approved by the Ordinance Committee on February 15th, and continued from the regular council meeting of February 26, 2024. Do we have an update from the administration relative to this ordinance?
I saw that the traffic, as expected, the traffic engineer gave a negative recommendation for passage of this, as I believe you have it. The mayor still would like to see this passed for the safety of the children in the neighborhood at that four-way. And speaking with some of the neighbors representatives from the schools that have contacted the administration would like to still see this passed. So, but it did come with a negative recommendation from the traffic engineer, who's recommending a roundabout. Not quite sure if that is the solution or not. But at least in the meantime, we urge that the four-way is passed, please.
Councilman Wall, it's your ward. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
In the, in the name of safety, as I went out and spoke to some of the constituents and the neighbors in that area, and it was pretty much a split group of people. Some people went for it, some people went against it. But much as Director Moretti says, if I am going to err, I'll err in the way of safety of the students, and I will be supporting it tonight.
Thank you, Councilman Wall. Does anyone else wish to be heard? There being no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll. Actually, do we have a motion to approve yet?
Motion to approve?
Okay.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next, we'll go to council member communications for Council Vice President Vargas. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. As noted on the docket, back on December 18, 2023, there was a resolution which was passed by all of us where we were adding some of the American Rescue Plan Act funds towards a few of the playgrounds that are in the property right next to a school. I requested at the last, I think, Public Works Committee meeting for an update as to where we are in terms of construction, given that these are, we're in spring, kids are outside. Edgewood Highland in particular was one playground that was closed. It seems like there's another one that was being used, CDBG funding was being used for that one. In light of the fact that the Edgewood Highland playground right on the property of Edgewood Highland School was closed, in conversations with the administration, with all of us here, we pretty much kind of did it. We were provided a quick assessment and we're told that there were a few other playgrounds that were also not in the best shape. And therefore we allocated some fund for the sole purpose of improving the 17 playground facilities. Just looking for the update from the administration as to where we are on those. When do we foresee at least one of the playgrounds that's currently closed open? Are we on schedule? So thank you, Director, for being here this evening.
Good evening, council members. Let me start first with the Edgewood project. I was by there all week, last week actually. They're on target to finish this week. They did demo in a day, like a day and a half, with the help from our highway department and Director Corso and his crew. They gave us a hand in getting rid of some of that stuff. And the playground is up and constructed right now. They're putting pieces and parts in, and I will be by there again tomorrow, but he did say that possibly by this week. The same goes for Smith Street. They are putting in the playground units as we speak, and they should be finished this week also. They're having a minor problem with fill. And again, I've asked DPW Director Corso to help us out. We're going to pick some fill up and bring it down to them to make sure that project stays in a timely fashion. That also was demolished by Highway Department. We also have delivered engineered wood fiber from the Rescue Act to 10 playgrounds. 2 have not received it yet due to some minor issues that they have with drainage. I did not want to put mulch in there and have it wash away. My work is to constantly go in there, putting mulch back in, regrading those 2 playgrounds to try to level them and get them even. I'm planning on meeting there with engineering to see if there's something we can do as far as where the water is coming from and why it's doing that and washing away the mulch. Hazard is not, but something that we will address soon.
Director, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Which one were those?
Pardon me?
Which playground were
The
those?
two playgrounds are Stone Hill and Glen Hills. Stone Hill and Glen Hills. Those were the only two that didn't get the allotment of mulch that we've been doing. We did the end of March, actually. It was March 29th, right before Easter, and possibly April 1st. I think we finished the last few of them. Again, on a daily basis, we're trying to develop some kind of system to get a heads up and ahead of the game as far as things that go wrong. A lot of them are minor adjustments that you have to make, but we have been staying on them, replacing handles, checking sideboards, regrading the mulch at most of these playgrounds. But we expect to keep moving forward with other projects ahead. The biggest thing, we've ordered some parts for some of these. Identifying these parts has been a challenge. We describe parts like, the rope with the chain or the weeble wobble. So it's us, what we do is we'll call the rep, identify it, document it, and try to get those parts ordered. So they should all be coming in as we speak again. And as they come, we'll put them together. It's a long process. It's something they've never had in the department, and we're just trying to develop something. Again, the Parks and Rec workers are not playground installers, and not everybody is able to do some of the things that are required to put these toys together. With that being said, sometimes we would have to bring in the contractor to either help us out and or give us direction. Sometimes they do it for no charge, and other times they'll demand something.
So, were the parts just recently ordered for the playgrounds?
Recently ordered, yes.
Recently, as in last few weeks, recently, as in February?
Recently, last
Okay.
few weeks.
When did we start? Can I just ask why the delay? What was the holdup on ordering these parts just within the last few weeks, knowing
Because
that you had this money since December?
Well, we had to set up a system where finance could appropriate this money per playground. That's what they did. I worked with Director Zadelis. We got that. And we have, again, we're figuring out a system. We've just developed that every playground has an account, as I do work on that playground, as I did with the mulch or any of the parts and components we do will be used against each individual account number underneath the total amount that was allocated.
Okay. Can I, so the project over at Edgewood Highland, who did that contract go to?
That contract, the contractor is Pro-Built Designs, Peter Bethanis. He does wonderful work. He was the same gentleman who put the playground, the small one in the enclosed area of Edgewood in the back there, the small little park. He also did that.
Oh, there's various phases that comes with that. What phase are we in now? Like, are we going, are the
As far as
students,
the
are the
Edgewood?
families, as far as Edgewood
Oh,
goes? as the
Edgewood,
first
he
one?
told me last week, he expects to be finished this week. I mean, I don't know if
The
you've
whole
been,
playground?
yeah.
Okay, so they laid down the, what does it call? I think.
Not yet. He's still putting pieces in and constructing some of the playground. I haven't been down there. I didn't go down today. I was there all week last week. And swings were going up. The whole house was going up, and I'm expecting to see more tomorrow. And
Okay.
again, that PIP, it's all weather determined too. I mean, there's a certain temperature, like, I don't have the exact number, but.
Can't go
this-
below 40 degrees.
Correct. Yep, 40, 45, they say also.
Okay, so what's the total cost so far that playground has come up to? in
As
terms
of right now,
expenses?
or what,
Yeah.
it was what was put in for the,
Is the full 135 going to be used?
I don't have that information right here. I thought that was all predetermined.
Well, I know that we went out for bid.
Yep.
And then after that, I know the kids were involved in some way, shape or
Correct.
form, but I just didn't know if we had used a full 135 or is it
Yes,
gonna
that
go
project
lower?
is going to incorporate all that funds.
Okay. And then in terms of your other playgrounds, your priority there is just as the parts come in, what's taking place in the event that those parts don't come in on
The-
time? In terms of safety for the
Really, none of the pots that are coming in are really safety hazard or anything that could be a problem. The next project is going to be Garden City. And that's a plan is to go in there to excavate the rubber surfacing, which was less than be desired, so we can get that surface area safe for the children. Pots there have been identified and ordered, probably maybe $4,000 or $5,000 worth of parts. It might have gone up since the last time we were out there. And we're going to try to get to that project next. Again, it's hard and it's kind of difficult to schedule to get the machine to get in there. And again, Highway's done a great job. We just have to figure out a way we can do it. The good thing about Garden City is, Councilwoman, is we don't have to do that during a school vacation. Where they are at this point, we could do that because the drop off and pickup is in a different spot. So I'm sure Peter can get that, or whoever gets the job can get that done during school time.
All right, so I guess I'm trying to understand, how do you end up prioritizing which playground you're gonna go first? So we have, like, for example, we have there's Chester Barrow, there's Eden Park, Rhodes, Stadium. How do you figure out?
Well,
are you going based
what
on
we
park?
decided was what is hazardous and what is a, threat to the children. We saw not too many, I mean, a punctured slide should be replaced, but it's not so much where it's gonna hurt someone. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it to you. Every playground is different, every piece and every part. Some of the things that we're identifying are just caps that go over these units so kids don't put their hands there. If they're cracked or broken, we order them and put them in.
All right, and then do we have a plan in place in terms how we're moving forward? How are we going to make sure that the playgrounds don't just go downhill? I mean, it's an investment we're doing. And by the way, before you answer that, Director, just for those that are here, I just wanted to quickly do a quick summary on the playground. There were a few playgrounds around the city that weren't in the best shape. Some of you, I see some of the school committee member, former school committee member are here. The teachers actually were here for one of those meetings that were taking place. Edgewood Highland in particular is in Ward 1. It's a playground that it's right next to the Edgewood Highland School, but it's not part of the actual school in itself. That playground was closed. It was determined based on a couple of assessments that were done that playground was not safe at all for the students or anybody to be part of. And so it was recommended to be closed, but it was never closed at all. So that playground went downhill after numerous attempts in advocating and saying that playground was just not safe for our children at all. There was just a surfing, it's a rubber surfing, it was falling apart. There was still nothing done. And it wasn't until it actually was brought to the city council meeting, of which then eventually things started to take place and come together. As a council, we all voted to take some of these American Rescue dollars as a city and actually allocate them to a lot of the playgrounds that we actually have and assess them. But there's really no plan in place, which is what I'm trying to ask. Whether or not, what are we going to do as a city to figure out or to make sure that we are responsible of our playgrounds going forward before we get to the situation that we were in, given the fact that Edgewood Highland had to be closed about a week before the beginning of the school year.
With our daily monitoring of the playgrounds, it should be better. Okay, we'll get better. That's the plan, to send them out there. Again, I don't always have people in there that are going to playgrounds. If a person is out, I can't just take people off jobs of other daily duties and operations that we do on a schedule. But we are on it, and we were in our power. We're doing everything in our power to make the playgrounds in the city safe for the children of Cranston.
Thank you. There's definitely a lot of other playgrounds outside of the scope of where school property is. But I'll continue to keep my eyes on this, and I'm hoping that as the parts come in, that due diligence is being done respectfully on your end and with the staff that we have to make sure that our playgrounds are up to the standard that they should be. Thank you. Thank you, Council President. That is all for me on this, and unless anybody else has any other discussion on this item.
Thank you, Council Vice President Vargas. Thank you, Director Tassaglia. Do any other council members have anything relative to this subject? Nope. Okay. Councilman Ferry.
Director Tassaglia, Has there been any assessment of the playgrounds that are not at the schools? I mean, I know has there been an assessment done so we know the
Yes.
condition they're in and if we wanted to?
Yes, we have. We haven't just targeted the schools. That was the priority, which was why we spent a little more attention early. I have sheets that the workers will give to me. We sit down, we address them and try to get it done.
Has this information compiled where it could be given to the council and?
It have to be formulated. And again, we're still trying to develop a system to get it done.
Right, when you have that available, could you supply that to the clerk so she could give it to the council?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Any other councilmembers? Councilman Wall.
And not to belabor the point, but if my memory recollects, I believe Councilwoman Vargas actually asked for a status report. Is that on the way? It was going to go to all the council.
I'm sorry.
I thought the last Public Works Committee, can you hear me now? The last Public Works Committee, Councilman Vargas requested a status report on the playgrounds work. I recall that. And that was going to come out within a week or two.
I could provide that for you.
Okay, and that will go out to all the members of the council.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other council members? No? Okay, thank you, Director Tassaglia.
Thank you.
Next, at this time, we will hear from the public on undocketed matters. We will start in chambers and then on Zoom. If there's anyone who wishes to be heard on undocketed matters this evening, please state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments limited to 4 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Susan Blake. I live at 173 Grand Avenue. I'd like to thank you for your time here tonight and also for allowing me a couple of minutes to speak with you about some current city affairs. Firstly, I would like to address the glaring inadequacies of the Building Inspections Department. With only 2 inspectors, it's woefully understaffed to address complaints, and yet there is no new funding in the fiscal year 24-25 budget to fill additional positions. However, that is not a free pass for those 2 inspectors to shirk their responsibilities, to actually go out into the community and do inspections. A follow-up email is not equivalent to a follow-up inspection. And this is actually happening, and I find it unacceptable. The situation at the apartment complex located at 1890 Broad Street in Ward 1 is a huge problem, shared by the city, the property owner, and the residents. The city can and must do their job. The residents are fighting back against a slumlord who has demonstrated similar behavior with multiple other residential and business properties in the state. The city codes of minimum housing standards must be enforced, regardless of the property owner's personal relationship with the mayor. I'm asking you, the city council, to introduce stricter guidelines for action and follow-up from the building inspectors and for the enforcing of fines for violations. Secondly, I come to you as a member of Cranston Forward, and I want to let everyone know that we have been granted consulting status for the phase of reviewing plans for the Budlong Pool. As you are all aware, the pool and bathhouse have now been recognized as historically significant by the Rhode Island Historical Preservation Commission. The public meeting this Thursday will be a required meeting as per federal regulations for accessing the $750,000 congressional grant that the city received. That grant was awarded under the pretense declared by the administration that the pool was unsafe and could not be prudently salvaged, yet there was no existing reputable evaluation to support that claim. The administration continually perpetuated lies to this city council, including that they were looking into reopening the pool while they were contracting, actually, to demolish it. And the administration conveniently did not disclose the word demolish that was included in the application grant when it was asking for the city council's support to apply for that grant. There has still not been an independent structural and mechanical inspection and report on the true status of the pool to date. The 2 reports done for the administration are full of hearsay, secondhand claims, by unidentified sources as well as flat-out lies. It was glaringly apparent in the Weston and Sampson report that they simply repeated previous baseless claims made by the Federal Hill Group and didn't do an on-site evaluation. There must be an unaffiliated inspection and let the truth be released. I'm asking this city council to support this demand. Lastly, the bids that were received for the mayor's planned tiny pool, the lowest was $400,000 above what the city has allocated for the project, including the use of the grant money. So there will likely be design revisions. So who here can tell me now how much smaller and how much shallower it's going to need to be to make that design affordable? I'll wait.
Good evening, council members, Madam President. My name is Tanya Pereira. I live over on 55 Friendly Road, and I'd like to bring an issue to your attention, something bordering on harassment at this point of many of your residents, as I'm sure some of you as well, with solar companies. I am not sure if this is already on your agenda at any point, but I would like to share with you my recent experience with these solar companies. Almost daily, I get knocks on the door, sometimes multiple times a day. They have no badge, no uniform on. So if I am home alone, I'm sure you can, especially with my 10-month-old son, I'm sure how you can feel getting a knock on the door multiple times a day with people who, have no badge, no uniform. One salesperson actually even initially denied that he was a solar company salesperson. They talk very loudly on the phone if they're alone, and if they're sent in multiples, they talk very loudly amongst themselves with absolutely no regard that they're standing on somebody's front porch. Multiple times, this has also almost woken my son up from a nap. They have gone recently as far as peering into my window, and my window is not just the little window at my front door, it's off to the side of the porch. And there was actually a gentleman who peered into my window and saw my son playing. After that happened this past weekend, I found myself, when I opened my blinds on Sunday morning, I didn't open my front blind because I was so uncomfortable with a salesperson peering into my house, in my window, in my privacy, that I left my blind shut. And at that point, I realized I was coming before you tonight to speak and bring this to your attention. I don't know what can be done as a city council. I'm not sure what is possible, but even something as simple as some type of an ordinance that requires at least a badge to be worn that requests, has something to the sort of their name and their company. So at least maybe the city council or the police department can start tracking complaints against which company and which employees. Again, this is not something that has happened once or twice. This is something that is going on in almost daily occurrence, and to the point where I am now uncomfortable in my own home. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dante Marinaro, 132 Forson Avenue, Unit 3. The reason I'm here tonight is to discuss a little issue that I had with the tax assessment. When I was checking up a little bit on your records, and I know that this unit was sold before the 2010 flood, $150,000. After the flood, I guess we already can figure out what happened with that owner, because it was sold at 60. I bought it at 80, was assessed previously at 135, and right now it's assessed at 205. Mind you that this unit, like so many others, have been flooded, it's uninhabitable. And unfortunately, this assessment was done in December prior to the disaster. When I went to the meeting and I mentioned to the gentleman that the unit was flooded, the response was, I cannot discuss the assessment with you, I have to discuss it with my boss. So I'm still waiting. I don't even know what is going to happen with that assessment. And if somebody wants to buy my unit for $150,000, please. 200, I'll take it. I doubted that you will, I doubted that I can sell that unit for $200,000. I don't know who do I have to talk to regarding this issue.
Mr. Mariano, we can't.
Marinaro.
Okay, I'm sorry, we cannot speak to matters that you're speaking of during the meeting because that would be an open meetings violation, but after the meeting, if you want to email us, you can email me and I'll direct you to the appropriate administration department to address your tax assessment issue.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else in chambers that wishes to be heard on undocketed matters? Okay. There being no one else in chambers, Tom, is there anyone on Zoom?
To the council president, if I can just give a reminder to the public, there are several online. Please use the raise hand function if you would like to speak, or dial *9 if on a phone. There is no public comment.
At this time, public comment on undocketed matters is now closed. Now we are moving on to page 5, introduction of new business. We have pursuant to section 2.06 of the Cranston City Charter, we are filling a vacancy of the Ward 2 council member seat with the appointment of Kristen Haroyan. Do I have a motion?
Motion to continue.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you, Council President. Appointing Kristen Haroyan to the vacated seat of Councilwoman Jermaine amidst the circumstances of the councilwoman's resignation in question is doing Chrissy Haroyan a disservice. She undoubtedly possesses the qualities to be here. Look at all the support that's here for her. And I think that what's going on surrounding Councilwoman Jermaine's resignation kind of casts some doubt on the legitimacy of this. And I am simply repeating things that are in the news from Councilwoman Jermaine's making various accusations of.
Councilwoman Renzulli, excuse
Yes.
me, with this Attorney Angel wants to be heard relative to the subject.
We've got to stay on topic. It's a motion to continue about filling a vacancy, not about the merits of something that's not on the agenda.
Okay, well, I think that we should continue this matter pursuant to the circumstances surrounding why we're on this matter in the first place. And if no one agrees with me, they don't have to vote for it, but I can't sit here silently when there's other things going on around that kind of diminishes what we're here to do tonight.
Council President, I would respectfully just disagree. I think if we're talking about, and any member, that goes for any member of the council, about an appointment to the council such as this, and talking about something that's going to be voted on, then every member of this council has the right to be heard on this matter. It's docketed.
My view on the matter is simply this. The agenda item is to fill a vacancy. Who fills the vacancy and why there's a vacancy is not what's on the agenda. There is a person's name on the agenda to fill the vacancy. The circumstances of a resignation or the absence of a person who used to hold a seat is not on the agenda.
With all due respect, Attorney Angel, this does say filling the
Excuse me,
vacancy
Councilwoman Renzulli,
created by the
excuse me.
resignation of Ward 2 council member Anise Jermaine. She is named in the introduction of the new business. She is named in the vacancy. Her resigning is the cause of a vacancy and it's listed there.
Councilwoman Renzulli, you can disagree, but the attorneys are the attorneys. The solicitor said their piece, and they are the legal experts on the
But they,
matter.
but they have
I'm
conflicting.
going to move the
they
question at
have
this time. Clerk,
conflicting-
please take the roll.
Motion to challenge the chair.
Second,
We'll move the vote. Please take the roll on the challenge.
Point of order. A clarification on the vote, just this is a first challenge to the chair that I've experienced in 6 years on the council. So just if the council attorney could, as parliamentarian, just explain sort of no vote would mean.
The president's position to move the question is being challenged. That's in order for a vote. The council can choose to support the challenge, or the council can deny the challenge by vote. It is a non-debatable motion.
The clerk can please take the roll on the motion to challenge.
Councilman Ferry,
No.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
yes.
Councilman Donegan,
No.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
No.
Council Vice President Vargas,
No.
Point
Council
of order.
President, Council President Marino,
No,
Point of order to the
motion fails.
parliamentarian.
We'll move the question.
Point of order, we can't move the question until every council member has had an opportunity to speak. We haven't had that opportunity yet, per Robert's rules.
Clerk can please take the roll on the moving the.
And I have a ruling on
motion
that
to
from our
question.
solicitor, from Chris Millay on Robert's rules.
Councilman Paplaskas, what are you seeking to challenge?
I'd like to clarify. The challenge is done. We've moved on. I did a point of order on the motion, on moving the question, because not every council member has had a moment to speak. So in Robert's rules, to my understanding, before you can move a question, you have to give everybody the opportunity to speak. And I had my hand up, and there were other people that had their hand up and haven't had the opportunity to speak.
With respect to moving the question, who would like to be heard?
It's not on moving the question. That's non-debatable. We're done. Your original, when you went to take the roll and move the question, we hadn't spoken yet. You can't move it without everybody having an opportunity to speak.
On the motion to continue. Who would like to be heard? Huh? Yeah. Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you. I fully support continuing this, and it's not anything with Ms. Arroyo.
Excuse me, whoever has the phone, you have to shut that off or leave because it's happening every so many seconds, please.
Thank you. Ms. Arroyo, I think you're highly qualified. You know, I think you'd be a great colleague on the council. My concern is the way we're going about this and what happened to our prior colleague who's named on here. So I am All right, I am in full support of continuing this. We don't know the facts on the resignation. I don't even know if the resignation is valid. We've all seen news stories. I will be voting to continue this. No slight on Ms. Saroyan. Like I said, I like Ms. Saroyan, but I will not be in support of this tonight. We should continue this. Thank you.
Councilman Donegan.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President. I have no comment on the resignation. That's not what I'm here to discuss this evening. What I'm here to discuss and to vote on is filling the vacancy. And a continuation to this vote would be to deny the residents of Ward 2 their proper political representation on this body. They deserve the representation, and that's it. I'll be supporting a motion to appoint Kristen Heroin to this vacancy.
Any other council members wish to be heard on the motion to continue at this time? Councilwoman Renzulli.
Council President, you are already being accused of denying Ward 2 their representation by Councilwoman Jermaine based on what she has said. And in your own words, when we're presented with allegations of improper and unethical conduct, it's our public duty to address them. I am simply saying that this is not supposed to be happening right now based on what Councilwoman Jermaine said happened. I have questions about it. I have questions for Attorney Angel. I'm not accusing you of this. I was not there, but it came up. It's everywhere. People are talking about it. If this was the other way around, you'd be saying the same thing. Thank you.
Any other members wish to be heard from council? No. All right, and let me be clear. Discussions relative to Ms. Jermaine's resignation were on the advice of legal counsel. At this time.
I have questions for legal counsel.
Excuse me,
These are legal
Councilwoman,
counsel
excuse
too.
me, Councilwoman Renzulli, you do
These
not just
are
get to
legal
speak
counsel.
without asking to be called on, and I did not, you've been heard. You've been heard. I did
Point of
not specifically
information.
call you out. It is not a
Point
point of
of
privilege.
information.
I am moving the
Attorney
question
Angel
at
is
this time.
our legal counsel. So if we don't know what he said to, we have the right to know what the advice was from legal counsel. Solicitor, do we not have the right to that? Should we not be able to go into executive session?
At this
and
time,
know
for the
what
clerk,
was
we have moved the
advised?
question. Please
is
take a
our
roll. Every
attorney.
council member has been heard.
Councilman Ferry
I just want to make it clear, we're voting
on
The
the
motion to
continuance.
continue at this time.
no.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
No.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
No.
Council Vice President Vargas,
No.
Council President Marino.
No.
Motion fails.
Next, do I have a motion to appoint Ms. Royan in the seat of Ward 2?
Motion to appoint Mr. Ryan.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Wall.
Listen, I've known Ms. Haroyan since 2019, when I first met her, when the school committee with Mr. Trafficani and I served on, appointed her. Kristen Haroyan is a hardworking person. She's diligent to her duties. She's a good friend. She's a person of the highest caliber. I'm proud to know her. I'm proud to call her my friend. I can think of no better person than to appoint in this position. I will be fully supporting committee member Haroyan to be city council member Haroyan, and I urge my colleagues to do the same.
Councilman Ferry.
I would like to thank Ms. Haroyan for being willing to accept this position on the council. And I want to also thank you for your dedicated service to the school committee for the past 5 years and your dedicated service to the Juvenile Hearing Board for 12 years. I fully support you in this position, and I wish you the best. Thank you very much.
Councilman Donegan.
Thank you. Couple I think it was during one of the budget hearings, some of us were talking and, we were opining that, or I was saying how over time, since I've been on the council, I've come to realize that when I first got on, I thought I just want to serve with people that I agree with all the time. And that's matured a little bit towards, I just want to serve with good people. And I don't know if we're going to agree on everything. I think we're going to agree on a lot, but I know that you're a good person and I know that you're someone that I want to serve with. And I look forward to having you as a neighbor over here to fill this seat. And I look forward to working together. So I will be fully supportive of your appointment this evening.
Any other council members wish to be heard? Council Vice President Vargas.
Council President, I've known Chrissy for quite some time, but I did want to say that for me, Chrissy had reached out and then I also had a conversation with her. As a matter of fact, we also had a conversation just today because I actually, even though I know Chrissy, I know she's done an excellent job in the school committee. I know she really passionately cares about our city of Cranston and truly, school committee members don't even get paid to do the work that they do, and that's a lot of work. So I appreciate the fact that she's still been an involved citizen and that she's actually wants to take the lead of the Ward 2 constituency and be their voice. And while Chrissy and I have known each other, there are certain things that I did not know of her and I don't know of her. And I called her and I said, listen, I just want to know a little bit more about you. Give me a little bit more about your platform. What is it that you want to do? What is your vision? Because I don't believe in just voting for someone because they're in the same party. I wanted to make sure that where she sat on certain issues, what her vision was for the city of Cranston, we're going to agree and we're going to disagree respectfully. But I really valued that conversation that I had with Chrissy, despite of the fact that I had a lot of people reaching out to me who don't normally do, obviously advocating. And I said, you know what? For me, the most important thing is I want to make sure that when I lay my head on that pillow at night, I voted up for someone that I know will actually continue and do a lot of the work for the city and for their constituency. And I said to Chrissy, I just want to let you know you have my support. And so I will be in favor of Chrissy this evening. Chrissy, I look forward to serving, assuming everything goes well within the next few minutes. But I do also just want to take this time and also just thanking our former councilwoman, Jermaine, for her time in the public service as well and serving here. And so I just wanted to say thank you to her as well and that I wish her and her family well. And Chrissy, I look forward to serving with you. So thank you.
Any other council members wish to be heard? No. Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Horoyan, for wanting to step up. You do have big shoes to fill. Ward 2 deserves representation, and we look forward to your service of the Ward 2 residents. As a council, as for people who have paid close attention to us, we all vote our conscience. It's been demonstrated here tonight. We are not a body that's always going to agree, but we should be able to disagree civilly when that occurs. And we welcome your presence and the hard work, and we will be here to support you along the way, just as we did for all of our other council members. Thank you. At this time, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Abstain.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes, but I'd like a check on the rules on the ability to abstain without a conflict of interest.
She can abstain.
Well, I can just get.
We could continue with the roll. Thank you.
thank you. Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campopiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Welcome, Ms. Ward.
I do. You do solemnly swear that you will be true and faithful unto and support the Constitution of the United States, this state, and support the laws and Constitution thereof, and the Home Rule Charter and ordinances of the city of Cranston, and that you will well and truly execute the office of which you have been elected or actually appointed, until another be engaged in your place or until you be legally discharged therefrom, so help you God.
I do.
All right, welcome
Thank you
aboard.
very much.
We'll get through the official one. Okay, is this what you wanted to say? You want the middle of the, I'll be in touch. Yep, you have your packet there, not to take much left.
Next on the agenda this evening, we have the presentation and discussion of report to the community from the Cranston Neighborhood Tree Planting Project.
Good evening. We didn't expect to be making our presentation at such an august moment, but congratulations. My name is Warren Heyman.
If we can just wait a minute, let some people leave the chambers. I apologize for not stating that earlier, and then the noise makes it hard for the stenographer. Thank you.
No
I'll let
problem.
you know when we convene. Yep.
I'm shocked that people are leaving now.
Awesome.
We've waited this long.
Thank you, Mr. Heeman.
No problem. My name is Warren Heyman. I live at 70 Arnold Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island. And I'm a member of the Cranston Neighborhood Tree Planting Project, and we just wanted to make a report to the city council because you give us money which we spend, and we think you should know how we spend it. We're a group of volunteers. This is about half the group. We're also open to anybody who lives in Cranston who would like to join us. It helps if you're a tree hugger, but you don't have to be. Next slide, please. So we're a small group of volunteers who work closely with the city's arborists to make sure that more trees get planted every year. This past year, we planted 42 trees throughout the city. 37 were purchased with the $12,000 that we received from the city. Next slide, please. Trees increase property values, lower heating costs, lower heating and cooling costs, absorb stormwater runoff during heavy rainstorms, and help the city reduce its carbon footprint. Next slide, please. We started the program in 2015. That tree you see there is one of the very first trees that we planted. Cranston residents download an application for a free tree from the West Bay Land Trust website. A link to our page is also on the city's website. A team member goes to the resident's home to make sure the location for the tree is suitable. We clear the site with dig safe before the nursery plants the trees. We also plant trees in public parks and ensure that they're adequately watered, especially in the first year. Next slide, please. So the next few slides are going to show you where we have planted trees in Cranston. We've planted in 268 locations, 328 trees since 2015. Next slide, please. This is Ward 1. It's a little hard to see, but where those dots are, those are where the trees have been planted. We planted 72 trees. Next slide. Ward 2, we planted 65 trees. Again, the dots show you where those are. Ward 3, we planted 16 trees. That'll show you where they are. Ward 4, 38 trees. Again, the dots. Ward 5, 25 trees. And Ward 6, 38 trees. Next slide. And again, where we plant the trees is not our a question of personal preference. Anybody can log on to the city website and contact us, and then we will try to arrange to have a tree planted there. So some people ask, why should we bother to plant trees? So one tree produces 260 pounds of oxygen in a year. It also absorbs 48 pounds of CO2. An acre of trees produces enough oxygen to keep 18 people alive. An acre of trees also absorbs the amount of carbon dioxide emitted by 2 cars. And 7 to 8 trees produces enough oxygen to keep 1 person alive. Next slide, please. They also absorb stormwater, which is obviously an increasing problem in our community. Next slide, please. They add life to the neighborhood. I might add that areas where there's lots of trees, the temperature tends to be lower in the summer. There tends to be less crime. There tends to be a better attendance in public schools, and communities tend to be safer. Next slide, please. We all benefit when we plant more trees. Next slide, please. Unfortunately, more trees are being cut down each year in Cranston than we plant. With continuous support from the city, we hope to reverse this unhealthy trend. Next slide, please. We want to thank the City Council for your support and continued funding of this project. Together, we will improve the community we all live in. Next slide, please. So we're accepting trees now for the fall planting. The program, again, is free to all eligible property owners, including homeowners, small business owners, and nonprofits. And if you're a tenant and you can get your landlord to agree, then we could plant it there as well. Help beautify Cranston by applying for a free 7-foot native species tree, which will be planted by a professional nursery. Trees must be planted in the front yard, but not between the sidewalk and the curb. The program is funded by money we get from the city and coordinated with the West Bay Land Trust. For more information, that's our the website. That's our phone number. For if you can't see it, it's 401-941-1264. That's the address. And again, you can go on the city's website and click, if you type in trees, it will get you to our website. Next slide, please. So just some thoughts for the future. We welcome any suggestions on where to plant trees or where to plant the next round of trees. City councilors can definitely refer people to us. Also, as we replace broken sidewalks, we ask that you do carve-outs so that we can plant trees there. And we request that you increase the funding, as we pointed out earlier. We're taking down more trees than we're putting up. And often when we take down a tree that's been there for 50, 60, or 70 years, the tree is 4 or 5 feet in diameter. We're planting trees that are nowhere near that in diameter, obviously. So for every 1 tree that comes down, really, we should plant 3 or 4 or 5 trees if we actually want to replace what we're taking down. Next slide, please. And that's a picture of trees. So that ends our presentation. I don't know if the council has any questions. I have people smarter than me to go. Oh.
I just wanted to make a comment about the inequity that you saw between the different wards and talk about like the density of some of those lots and how hard it is to try to get the trees planted there. So it would be great if you guys could help in trying to get some of the city planning to allow more space for the trees. So I think they're called neck downs and things like that at corners, maybe. I think that's a discussion with the city planner and, but yeah, those neighborhoods are really tough and those are the ones that heat up the most in the summer. So thank you.
Back to you, Madam
Okay.
President.
Thank you all. I'm sorry, one of your members also wants to be heard.
I just want to say I'm sort of the owner of that number. So I get to talk to lots of people who have lots of questions. And most of them, I can't tell you how excited they are that they're not going to have a twig, that they're going to have a tree. And I just want to double Warren's idea that we do need to plant more trees. And I think when I was thinking about this today, I was thinking, you know, with everything going on, you know, and things are in disarray, if you go sit under your tree, I mean, it's something you can lean on, you know, it'll be there. That it's something in the world to lean on and to count on.
I just would like to close to say that our meetings tend to be on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live in the city. If you're interested in helping out and volunteering, it's very easy to participate. We don't press anybody to do anything they're not comfortable with. You just have to have a willingness to want to plant trees. So I don't
Oh,
think I'm chair.
Before council members are, I actually just wanted to say thank you. I very much respect your program and I admire your dedication to it. One of the positives, for lack of a better word, of the recent situation of the climate change and the flooding is that people who did not realize the value of trees relative to not just shade, but water mitigation, I think are now waking up to that. So I really can't thank you enough for what you do. And I know as long as I'm a council member, I will continue to support your program and advocate for it as much as I can. Thank you very much. And now I'll go to council members. Council Vice President Vargas.
Thank you, Council President. Again, just echoing the sentiments of Council President, thank you so much for your time. Thank you as well to our former citywide councilwoman, Sarah Lee of Edgewood, I have to say. I just, can I ask, what kind of trees is it that they're planting? And my other question is this information also available to translated maybe into Spanish for any Spanish-speaking residents? I'd be happy to connect you if you needed someone to translate any of the work, but I think that would be essential part that I can also communicate that with a lot of the landlords that we have here in the city who may actually not know that program. Obviously, I speak Spanish as well, and I'm happy to help out, but it would be nice for me to just maybe say there's someone that speaks Spanish there, or they have some language, something that can translate.
Yeah, we can definitely get you stuff in Spanish.
Okay,
And if there's a need for other languages, we can do that as well.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much again for your advocacy work on this very important topic. And again, please know that you'll have my support too while I serve on the council. So thank you again for your work.
Yeah, you asked the question about the trees we plant. Like to plant trees that grow big and that will be here after we're here. So if I can remember some of the things that we're planting actually this week for our spring planting, there's maples, red maple, sugar maple, oaks, pin oak, and red oak, and London plane and elm, tulip, linden.
We very much want to plant native pollinators, trees that are native to here so that they support the bees and the butterflies and the birds, because it's very important to have plant trees that support the natural part and not bring in, you know, Japanese maple trees or whatever, which really don't support the bees and the butterflies.
Councilman Donegan.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you to all of you. a group of volunteers for doing this and for bringing these trees to the city, and the work that you're doing. I already got a text from my mom. She's like watching and she's like, I'm gonna sign up for a tree. So great.
Join our group, will you?
And if for anyone like on the policy side looking to try and figure out, oh, where should we plant more trees? Like less than just anecdotally, treeequityscore.org has a map where it ranks tree scores for census groups, census blocks, taking into factors like poverty, communities of color, obviously tree population, children, seniors. So that's a good policy tool for anyone that wants to nerd out over trees and maps.
Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, I joked with Councilmember Donegan before the meeting started about the docket, with this being on here. Councilman Stichels better be here tonight, but you started the presentation off with him, so that was good enough. I remember when this program started back in 2015, we talked a lot about it has to be in the front yard. Now, I've had residents call me and say, I don't want it in the front yard. I'd like it in the side yard because I don't want the roots to uproot and go into my sewer system eventually and, cause a lot of issues. I don't have room in my front yard because of the power lines. Is there an exception if somebody wants to do the side yard? And you can still see it from the street, just not in the back of the house.
We have enough requests that our money doesn't go that far, right? So, but sometimes we find a sapling, something smaller that they can plant themselves. We also try not to put the nursery in a situation where they're going through somebody's fence and deep into their lots. I think we were warned that that could be a problem. At one point, I think, somebody's fence was damaged and that was discouraged to go too far into someone's backyard. Plus, the purpose of the program is really to replace those street trees that they do not replace because the narrow strip by the sidewalk is too narrow, deemed too narrow to put the trees back. So we're really trying to shade the paved areas that heat up and cause the heat island effect in these neighborhoods.
Okay, thank you very much. Makes sense. I mean, if you can't
Yeah.
get the requests, but you fill all the front yards first and you wouldn't get to the side yards anyway, so it makes
Well,
sense.
Yeah, I mean, we have been doing side, yards, because it's kind of, there's an idea that it's a public tree. Okay, so if it's in the back, we don't do in the back of the house. But a lot of people do have yards that have a nice little side yard, and that's fine. So it's almost the front of the
Yeah, and I only ask because some people are on a corner too, but I guess it's a case by case thing. I'll just give them your information to get in contact with you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Next on the agenda on page 6, we have 4-24-01 that is being referred to the respective ordinance committee. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horayan,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. Next, we have claims matters being referred to Claims Committee meeting of May 6th. Do I have a motion to refer those claims matters to the
Motion.
committee?
Motion to refer them to committee.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horayan,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes. All right, and next we have informational items. I did have a question for the administration relative to the appointment of Brian Moretti to the Board of Contract and Purchase, term ending January 6, 2025. as appointed by the council minority. Is that of any relation to Director Moretti?
No.
I'd like to hear from the administration relative to that, not from a council member.
Okay, Director Moretti, she's asking you.
No.
Thank you. Other informational items are the resignation, and we thank Mr. Santuri for his service on the Tax Assessment Board, reappointment of Mr. Massantuano to the Board of Contract and Purchase. And we have the appointment of Ms. Pregoni to the Board of Contract and Purchase for informational purposes. Does anyone have any discussion or questions relative to those informational items? Okay, there being none. I believe we have covered all the matters, so I have a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good evening. Oh, yeah, Ms. Clerk?
Did you want to remind everyone that next month's regular council meeting is moved to Tuesday because of the Monday holiday?
Okay, I think you just did. Next month's regularly scheduled May meeting is going to be on Tuesday. And we do have budget session amendments tomorrow evening, council chambers 5:30 for Finance Committee.